Episode 4, SLOTHBOXX podcast. Myself, James Luxon, co-host Lyndon Dixon. A bit of a wild weekend of boxing.
Yeah, it's been busy, hasn't it?
Yeah, crazy. Of a double header this weekend. Let's start with the controversy up in Scotland. Jack Catterall should, in my opinion, be waking up as undisputed world champion.
In everyone's opinion.
Well, I mean,
But Taylor.
how did you see that one? Like the rest of us?
Sorry, you broke up there, mate. Yeah, mate. It was. I think I said last week, don't underestimate Catterall, and I was sort of proved right. I still thought Taylor would win, but Jesus, Catterall put a hell of a fight. He put on a bit of a boxing clinic for most of the fight. No matter, it was scrappy at times, but still, I felt every little interaction, Catterall's coming out on top, and then he got the knockdown, and Taylor wins on a split decision. I just don't get it, mate. Like, I saw an interview with Dave Caldwell, and Bill, you said it as well. Like, fighters after being punched in the face for 12 rounds have to come out and speak about their performance and analyze it literally straight away, 60 seconds after they've either won or lost. And why can't judges do it? Why can't judges explain their actions and just give us a bit more insight to how they can come to their decision? Like the Taylor Catterall one's a great example because almost everyone watching scored the fight the same. Catterall outboxed Taylor for most of the fight. Yet two people saw it that Taylor won. And now Catterall's whole career building up to this undisputed fight is down the drain just because of those two people. I can't. It's a sick note for Catterall, and I just feel for him, mate. How did you see it?
I mean, I had Catterall clear. I mean, you could say 6-0 up, 7-0 up, and the knockdown. They both had points deducted, so that evens itself out. But with the knockdown as well, don't get me wrong, Taylor came on towards the end, probably won and nicked a few of the rounds towards the later stage of the fight. But I think by then it was already really sewn up. All Catterall had to do was stay on his feet for me. How Ian John Lewis got the 1-1-4, 1-1-1 with the knockdown as well against Taylor baffles me completely. I mean, they've said, which Border Control said they're going to investigate it. I mean, are they? Is it going to be swept under the carpet?
Yeah. They're the ones that need to be investigated, mate. The people, they're investigating themselves. I don't know, like, it baffles me, mate. It pisses me off because, like you just said, Ian John Lewis had Taylor winning clearly. He had him ahead by quite a margin, mate.
I think the worst thing about it is you don't even have to go too far back to see the last time they fucked up, see the last time they investigated somebody. I mean, I go back to Bradley Skeet and Hamza Shiraz.
Yeah.
You know, that was only a couple of months ago, really, and there was an investigation there, and all the referee done was say, I felt this was the right decision. Okay, no worries at all. Fine, perfect. No,
I mean, if that's as easy as that's going to be, like, then that should be applied to all walks of life, like in court. Like, so why did you do it? Actually, don't think I was that wrong. Fair enough, mate. You're free. Like it's such a piss take, mate. Because the boxers in the ring, despite whether you like them, whether you hate them, whether you even rate them, they're putting it all on the line. The camps, the money they spend on it. I mean, Catterall, there's apparently he didn't even take the step aside money. He didn't even receive any step aside money for Taylor to become undisputed, even though he was mandatory. So this boy has been, it was all on the line for him on Saturday night, and he's been robbed, mate. Proper robbery.
Absolutely. And the thing is, like Jamie Moore said after the fight, what impression does that give to young kids looking to get into the sport? You know, even guys who have started out their career and they're, maybe less than 10 fights in, they're looking at this at the world title level on a big stage and going, what's the fucking point?
Exactly, mate, because boxing, you can't half-arse it. You have to dedicate yourself. And like you say, for the youngsters looking at it thinking, I'm going to get to the top one day, but it can just be taken away from you, no matter how you perform. It just in the hands of 3 people. And I think it's something needs to change about it, mate.
Well, love him or hate him, Jake Paul's made a suggestion. He's saying for world title fights, let's make it 6 judges. Let's have them paired up. They've then got to, end of each round, decide between the 2 of them and agree on who wins that round. And if they do dispute each other, they've got to basically debate as to why and come to a conclusion as to who they're giving it to, a bit like a jury. Now, there's enough money in world title fights to afford another 3 judges. I mean, not only that as well, you've got to look at it and go, on the other side of it is the neutral judge. Why not bring over, say, 3 judges from America or somewhere else in Europe? Why has it got to be British judges scoring the British? I know I get obviously the license, the British licenses, etc., etc. However, surely there's some way they can bring in other judges. They're going to be licensed for a reason as well. There's going to be no bias at all. They're going to see it fairly, or at least you hope they'll see it fairly. There's got to be something like that. There's got to be something changing. I'd say Jake Paul's suggestion there, I don't think it's a bad idea. I mean, what are your thoughts? How can it be changed?
I think, well, no one else is really making any suggestions. I think, like you've noticed with Frank Warren's, your Eddie Hearns, they moan about it, but what, as much as you can like them or whatever, what are they trying to do about it? Whereas Jake Paul, mate, I think it's a cracking idea. It's too, like Ian John Lewis, he might be sat there nervous thinking, well, I really thought I thought I did that right. I thought I was right. But if you've got another set of, like you say, neutralised next year, who can either argue against you or go, yep, you've got that spot on. One, it takes away the pressure from those judges because, it's a world title fight. It's a big, big fight because they know the power's in their hands. And I think it's just better for everyone. It's better for the judges. It's better for the neutrality of the fight. Because like Catterall, he was in Taylor's backyard. And sometimes things just don't swing that way. But if you've got a neutral judge in there from a different, sanctioned by a different board, I think it's only good for the sport. And I think Jake Paul's maybe come across something good. He's just making a lot of sense at the minute, whatever he says, Jake Paul, with whether it's Taylor Serrano, now the judges, on about Joe Rogan actually paying his fighters. I think he's making a lot of sense recently, and he's done it again. He's hit the nail on the head.
Absolutely. I mean, what about as well? I mean, what you saw with lockdown, no crowds allowed, and there were a lot of shocks. But rather than shocks, they were the right and fair decisions. How much influence does the home crowd impact the judges? For example, in Scotland, Saturday night, the fans are going to be cheering even louder when Josh Taylor's landing a punch compared to Jack Catterall. Now, is a judge going to think, oh, I didn't see that properly, but the crowd have just shouted, it must have landed or it must have been a good shot. How much of an impact will the crowd have?
I think if you're a fan watching the fight and your boy lands a punch, it's natural to be possibly swayed and think, cool, yeah, the atmosphere, everything, yeah, he won that round. But mate, you can't forget these judges are being paid good money. It's their job, they're professionals, it's their career. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you're in any other line of work, you can't be swayed by an atmosphere or an environment. You're supposed to get your job done properly. And I think, yeah, you're right, mate. The atmosphere has obviously affected decisions over the years, but at the end of the day, it shouldn't. Like I say, they're professionals and they've got to get their job done, no matter the circumstances, mate. If you can't handle the atmosphere, then maybe it's not the line of work you should be in.
Absolutely. I mean, aside from the controversy, the result is Josh Taylor has gone on and won. He's defended and kept hold of his world titles. It looks like he's moving up 147. Obviously, he's got the link there with Boxer, Top Rank, and their partnership. I mean, what about for his first fight at 147? He's not going to go straight in. He's still got Crawford. He's not going to go straight in for Crawford. You can't. Nobody can do that, I don't think. What about a Kell Brook fight? He seems to be obviously looking potentially signing a Boxer. He said on Saturday night he wants another fight. He loves fighting. What about Josh Taylor versus Kell Brook?
I think that's perfect, mate. I think Brook said sort of now he's beat Khan, he's defeated his bogeyman. Money talks, and I think that fight is the money fight. I think it's a winnable fight for Brook. You know, it's a man who's been at that weight. That's it. That's his weight. Taylor's coming up and he's testing the waters a little bit. Yeah, he was way too big for where he was. But can he? It's going to be interesting because it's going to show us what level Taylor's at in terms of, are you world level? Because Brook's a world level fighter, he's a French world level fighter, but is he world level at welterweight? Is he going to carry up the power? Because mate, it sounds like it's only a few pounds difference, but it's a completely different game when you move up that weight. It's different territory. But from Brook's perspective, it's the money fight. And mate, imagine if Brook beats Taylor. Imagine if Brook beats one of the pound for pound legends at the minute. Where does he go from there? But at the same time, Taylor wins. He is going to be looking towards, probably not straight away, but like you say, your Crawfords. And I think it's a fight that makes sense for the pair of them. And I wouldn't be surprised if I saw it in the summer.
Absolutely. I mean, I'd like to see Taylor move to 147. But I'd like to see him ease himself in. But with the fringe level world title, world level fighters, so like you mentioned, Kell Brook, you know, Danny Garcia, if he's at 147, if he can still make that weight, a Keith Thurman, even, you know, before going in, you know, your Crawford, you talk about potentially a Spence fight as well. I know the Crawford fight seems to be the one that's easily made with the top ranked connections there. But listen, welterweight, it's got some great champions, some great prospects coming through as well, and you Jaron Ennis and that. So it's definitely an unbelievable weight division to be part of, and Josh Taylor could find himself in the mix there within the next 18 months.
I hope he does find himself in that mix soon as well, because you mentioned Thurman. I think that's a great fight. I think for Taylor in terms of putting himself in that American audience as well, like showing, look, I can beat one of your top boys. Now give me another one. I think whereas Brook, it was sort of just proved a point to the British fans. I don't think that appeals on a world level, but like you say, Thurman, I didn't even think about that. I think that'd be a great fight. But like you say, within the next 18 months, it's going to be really interesting to see where he is in terms of, is he going to have fought Crawford by then in 18 months? Is he going to be undisputed in 18 months at welterweight? I don't know, but it's going to be interesting to see where it goes, mate.
Definitely. I mentioned at the start was a double header, so let's move on to Sunday. Let's get out of the way first of all. Maris Bradis / Mario Bradis, so Super Maris Bradis. I mean,
mate, I was just so obviously I'm watching the boxing and I'm just looking through Twitter on my phone. I've got the boxing on my telly, and then I look up and next thing you know, there's fucking Super Mario sat next to Tony Bellew. And I had no clue what was going on. I thought I was tripping out a little bit, but no, it was one of the best boxers in the world, Marius Bradis, dressed there as Super Mario. And so you got the rap, you've got the Jake Paul tattoo, and now he's dressed as Super Mario. I don't know. Sometimes I just don't know what goes through his head. What made him think that'd be a good idea? Is he got someone telling him that's a good idea? But yeah, he's a character, isn't he?
I mean, if somebody's telling to do this, sack your PR team.
Get him gone, mate. Get him gone.
I mean, like I say, one of the best fighters on the planet. He is the best fighter at cruiserweight, in my opinion, and he is desperately chasing a Jake Paul fight. Now, listen, they always say, look at Bellew, look at Usyk. They say cruiserweight, there's no money in it. Heavyweight is the money division. But shit, chasing Jake Paul, just go to heavyweight.
Yeah, come on, just hurry up. You're getting on, Mario, sorry. You're getting on now, just move up to heavyweight. But Jake Paul, mate, you think where Jake Paul's reputation was a year ago, and now you got the fucking best cruiserweight in the world chasing him, like you say. God, if you would have told me last year that the best cruiserweight in the world would have had a Jake Paul tattoo, let alone dressed up as Mario on design, to try and call him out, I would have assumed he was on something. But mate, I just don't know. Like I say, because I don't think he's going to get the Jake Paul fight. I don't think. Why would Jake Paul do that? There's so many easier fights for the same, if not more money. Jake Paul's not going to entertain that. And yeah, it's just a weird one all around, mate.
I mean, not only that, not only is Jake Paul going to avoid that like plague because he would get sparked out. I mean, do you really think the IBF are going to sanction a fight between Bradis to defend his world title against the world-ranked 627th Jake Paul? Like, it's just not going to happen ever, not in a million years. And all that's going to happen is Bradis looks like a clown.
Yeah, or Mario.
Or Mario.
Yeah.
What's next, Luigi? You know what I mean? Galal Yafai, a shining light of last night's card. Pro debut. We mentioned this last week. Straight in a 10-rounder. WBC International Trinket title against a tough Mexican, albeit 5 losses last 6 fights, but still, I mean, it's unheard of to take on a Mexican in debut anyway. They're all tough bastards, but then to go and stop him as well. I mean, just how much of a promising career has this kid got?
I think, mate, he's going to be our Lomachenko. He's going to be put through those paces so fast. But I don't think there's going to be anyone questioning whether he can handle it, because he put on a boxing clinic against that Mexican last night. The way he was, the angles he was creating, the footwork, the distance he was keeping between them at all times, and then finishing him in that way inside the distance. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful performance. And yeah, we got caught a few times, but it's his debut. Still, that's the thing. You think Corey's Andy Lee was saying he's getting caught quite a bit there, but I'm thinking it's the boy's debut. Yeah, he's an Olympian or whatever, but come on, give the lad a bit of credit. But like I say, he's going to be put through those paces. But if anyone can handle it, it's him, mate.
Absolutely. I mean, he looked like a star. Obviously, Rob McCracken in his corner. A lot of talk on the commentary and punditry last night, and the zone was, is he the next Anthony Joshua, James DeGale, the gold medalist, the world champion? And I mean, at the weight, really, whoever's around there, only really Sonny Edwards. And Sonny himself has been on Twitter very vocal about the two of them meeting later down the line, and that will be a world title fight, potentially, undisputed fights, and I think, like I say, both British fighters, the potential there is just ridiculous. That fight is unreal.
In terms, you don't really hear of the smaller fighters being able to sell a fight as much, but I mean, Sonny Edwards has already got a win over him at the amateur level. And there's going to be, like you say, that fight is going to be something else. There's going to be so much interest in that fight. But I was thinking that last night, like when I seen Sonny's tweets. But what fight is that going to be for Gamal? Is it going to be his 5th fight? Is it going to be his 25th fight? Do you know what I mean? Like, how soon is all of this going to happen? And it's going to be interesting to see what Eddie does with him, because he's trusted him to, fight for, you call it a title at this level. It's in his first fight on his debut on a big bill. He was the second to last on the card. Where's he going to be on his 3rd fight, his 10th fight? I'm so excited to see where his career goes, because he's got undisputed talent, but will he be an undisputed champion? How soon? That's the question, mate. How soon is it all going to come for him?
Absolutely. Another result, which I'm sure you was very pleased about on the card, Jordan Gill. You called it last week, late stoppage, and to me, he looked down and out. I felt it should have been stopped already. He just battering, obviously both his eardrums perforated. That threw off his balance completely, and he just didn't look comfortable in there. You see the last couple of rounds, he stayed in his corner. Very clever move. He's obviously, like I say, not got his balance there. Sit in the corner, listen to your corner. Dave Caldwell instructed him through the round. Just great bit of experience there from Dave Caldwell. If he's instructed him to stay in the corner, if not, then it's a great bit of work from Jordan himself. And the knockout punch was just an absolute peach.
I saw a video today and they're calling it a punch from the gods, but I think whether you believe in God or not, that was his fighting instinct, mate. Like for those last 2-3 rounds, everything he was doing was off of instinct. I don't care whether he was in his own corner and Caldwell was in his ear. He, like I said, he had 2 perforated eardrums. I doubt he was going to be able to hear much. So I think everything you saw was, oh mate, I'm just so over the moon for him because he wanted it so bad. And just speaking to him, you know, we messaged quite a bit, but I knew how much he wanted it. And the performance he put on before he got knocked down he was doing really, really well at that level. He's never fought at that level before, and he showed he belongs there really, if not higher. And just that punch when it come through, mate, I'm sure I must have woke the neighbours up. I was celebrating so much for him because, like you say, the fight, I think it should have been stopped. He was taking a lot of damage, and he's lucky to not have any further damage really, other than the eardrums. But what a punch it was, mate, to put him straight on his back to win the European title. And I know he wants to fight in his hometown next, well, not necessarily next, but before the year's out at the Peterborough ground, and that'll be a career high for him. And I'm just, like I say, that was riding on it. So much was riding on this fight for Jordan, and I'm just so happy he got the win, mate.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very much his, you know, you go back through the years and you look at, you know, YouTube clips and your highlight reels of the knockouts on the comeback. So you got your Julian Jackson, you got your Andy Lees, even your Castillo Corrales. You know, this was up there for me with those guys and these performances because, like I say, I felt it should have been stopped. And literally out of nowhere, he just landed the perfect punch on the perfect spot. And Guerfi was out on his feet. He was asleep as he's falling.
He was, mate. The punch, I don't know how, but it's watching it back in slow-mo, it seems so measured. Jordan looks at him, he looks at that spot on his chin, he throws the right and lands it, but it was executed perfectly. But Jordan was out on his feet as well. Jordan was out, mate. I don't get, like I say, it's that instinct. You can't, it was just beautiful, beautiful, natural boxing. And like I say, some people say Jordan ain't got the power. Well, it's just, he weren't all there himself, but it's just the nats of the champion. I think he showed what a warrior he is. That he has got a chin because he stayed there, and he has got heart because, you know, he could have easily went back to his corner after, you know, the knockdown and thought, my leg's in there. We're probably near level on points. Let's just call it a night. It's not meant for me. But 3 rounds later, he's knocked him out and put him on his ass. I mean, it's going to be a big year for him. It's only February, mate, and I wonder where he's going to be by Christmas.
Definitely, definitely. Now let's talk about the main event. Lawrence Okolie against Sislak. Nothing really to shout about. It was very messy, untidy. Styles didn't gel at all. Sort of sport each other's styles, facing each other really. I mean, the highlight of the fight was the Polish fans, very, very vocal. You know, Okolie got the win. You know, great for British boxing. He did drop Sislak on the way, but not a. It's a very underwhelming performance.
As far as main events go, it's probably the worst one I've seen in a few years. But it weren't, like you say, it weren't either of their faults. It's just the styles didn't gel, and I think no one's really spoke about it, but Okolie buzzed him in one of his first 3 or 4 punches, and I think for the rest of the fight, it was shit. He's got some power in front of me, and I think that's why you sort of saw a lot of the grappling, the wrestling, and it was horrible to watch. Other than the knockdown, it was a beautiful punch, but for the rest of the fight, it just wasn't a nice boxing performance from either of them. And Okolie said it straight after. He admitted it himself that it weren't his best night at the office, but at the same time, like you say, the styles didn't gel. And I mean, you can't knock it. He got the win, like you say. It's great for British boxing. Where does he go now? Is he going to fight Breeders? Is Breeders going to fight him? Does he go to heavyweight? I don't know. But he got the win, and fair enough. But next time, I hope there's just a bit more actual boxing going on.
Absolutely. I mean, the ring walk, he's come out of Anthony Joshua holding his belt, Israel Adesanya, the UFC star. And for a ring walk like that, you're headlining the O2, you expect to see that superstar in there. And I've not seen that yet out of Lawrence Okolie. I mean, is that going to change if he goes to heavyweight? Is that going to be more suited to him? I don't know. I just don't see. I mean, he's got a great story, you know, from working in McDonald's to losing all the weight to then going to the Olympics to being a world champion. But aside from his story, I don't see that superstar there. I don't see the, you know, I don't see his career being remembered in 20, 30 years' time.
Yeah. Like you say, if it stopped now, I don't think many people would remember him. I mean, the two people that bought him out, they're the sort of superstars you aim to be. And like you say, headlining the O2, Okolie's not that. I mean, he can only beat what's in front of him. And he has beat everything that's in front of him so far. But I think in terms of matchmaking, Eddie was saying all week that he's a bit disappointed for Lawrence because he wanted another title shot. But he just needs, I think he needs to be given tougher fights, and I think it will bring the best out of him because, yeah, he was against a tough Polish man last night. It's just like, but at the same time, is he going to bring the best out of Okolie? No, and he didn't bring the best out of Okolie. I think you need to be put in. I think Eddie Hearn in this team and Okolie in this team need to go, look, yeah, it would be lovely to be an undisputed cruiserweight champion. Can we get one of those fights? No? All right, heavyweight. Heavyweight is because he's older than you think. I think he's like, what, 31, 32? He hasn't exactly got 15 years left in him, has he? He's got 4 or 5 years at his best left. And on a personal level, he needs to make his money and get out. And right now, like you said perfectly, he's not the superstar that he probably could be. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where he goes in those 4 or 5 years. But yeah, it's just a shame about the performance last night, really.
Definitely. Talking of heavyweights, this week it has finally been announced. The contracts have been signed. The venues announced. The dates announced. Tyson Fury, Dillian Whyte, Wembley Stadium, London, April 23rd. Did you think it was going to get signed? Are you pleased it's been done?
I did think it was going to get signed. Yes. And yes, I am pleased it's done because for Dillian mainly, I think he's got to prove himself to himself. But the boxing public, I don't really think. I think Dillian puts himself in that top 3, that top 2. And a lot of boxing fans out there wouldn't even put him in the top 7 or 8. And it's been a long time coming. I don't know off the top of my head how long it's been, but it's been 3, 4 years. He's been mandatory for the belt, and I can't wait for the build up really, because people are saying, "Oh, is Whyte even going to go to the press conference?" Mate, it might be something we've never seen before, but at the same time, they're both a little bit arrogant, Fury and Whyte, and those press conferences, if they did take place, it would be something nice to watch. But yeah, I'm just happy it's made. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But the first one's tomorrow.
Tomorrow? God, I didn't realise it was so soon. But yeah, I'm happy it's made because I was just so fed up like everyone else. Will he sign? Won't he sign? I mean, I love Fury, but every video every day, you're a bum. Are you going to sign it? This, that, this, that. It's out the way now. And like you say, tomorrow, if Whyte shows up, we'll see what they both have to say to each other.
Absolutely. Let's look forward to this weekend. Roman Gonzalez, Chocolatito, back in the ring, fighting a late replacement in Martinez, coming up in weight. Seen this recently with Bam Rodriguez doing the same sort of thing, coming in late, moving up in weight, a couple of weights. Martinez, younger, fresher. Chocolatito towards the end of his career, but still an elite fighter. Let's not get that wrong. I mean, with that, just how good a fight is that, first of all?
I think any fight Chocolatito's in is going to be a barnstormer because he just has that style that, you know, elicits a proper fight. But for Martinez, is he gonna upset the apple cart again like we saw just a few weeks ago? I don't know. But I'm looking forward to the fight because it's a good clash of styles. Like, They're both going to bring it. They're both going to actually fight. It's not going to be like what we saw at the weekend. There won't be much hugging. It's going to be a pure boxing performance. And I can't pick how it's going to go, but because of Bam Rodriguez's upset just a few weeks ago, the rational part of me says Chocolatito wins easily because Martinez is coming up in weight, like you said. But boxing's an unpredictable sport, and I can't pick one. Who do you have, mate? Because I can't separate them.
I mean, I want Chocolatito to win. Can he win? Absolutely. But I do rate Martinez. I think Martinez is a very, very good fighter. But, you know, again, the weight, as you mentioned, it's after seeing Bam do that as well and win comfortably, like, shocked me. I rate Bam, but I didn't think he was going to win against Quadras when he moved up so far in weight. Again, against me, you know, somebody who's been at the world level for a long, long time, much like Chocolatito. Very, very similar path to the fight in terms of this one and the previous one. So it wouldn't surprise me seeing Martinez win. I think if they're the same weight naturally, I think Martinez wins.
Yeah.
I want Chocolatito to win. My gut says Martinez.
I think I'm sat on the fence, but I'm falling slightly towards echoing what you said. But Chocolatito is a legend, and I don't think he's past it yet in terms of, you know, like Khan's past it. Chocolatito ain't past it. That's what I mean. It's like he's still, like you said, an elite fighter, and it's going to be one that a lot of people are struggling to call. Like you said, it's the weight, it's the youth, like youth versus old. It's can he do it? Can he step up on that world level against the fighter that's been at that level for almost his whole career? Can he do it against them? I don't know. But I do think Martinez edges it slightly. But I think the later it goes on, I think the more it falls into Chocolatito's favour, because obviously he's naturally at that weight. And I think Martinez will be pushing it a bit. But yeah, mate, I'm excited. It's going to be a great fight.
I think it's a great bit of matchmaking, and it's good to see Martinez take that challenge as well.
Definitely, mate.
Perfect. Well, that wraps up another week, another episode. Lyndon, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you, mate.